What does it really mean to be Scottish or British, or for that matter, English, Irish or Welsh? My name is Rosie Braw from The Economist, and with me to discuss this is Linda Colley, Professor of History at Princeton University and author of Acts of Union and Disunion. Welcome.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you, Linda, can you tell us what you think has kept the Union together for so long?
I think it's a mixture of things. Part of the reason was, of course, the coercive power of the English state, and it was, first of all, the English state, one of the most quickly centralised states in Europe. But subsequently, different factors came in. One of them, crucially, was the Protestant Reformation. In the 16th century, this triumphs, if that's the word, in England, Wales and Scotland. And a common Protestantism is one of the reasons that Scotland joins England and Wales in 1707 in another Act of Union. And of course there's also an element of accident. Scotland had taken over, as it were, England and Wales when a Scottish king, James, inherits the throne in 1603 after Elizabeth I dies. The other reason which really did shape how the UK evolved was recurrent war. This has been a very warlike state, and the final Act of Union, which does not succeed, to put it mildly, is the Act of Union with Ireland in 1800, 1801, and that takes place right in the middle of the Napoleonic Wars, when London is terrified that France may use Ireland as a stepping-off point for invading Britain itself. And war and empire help to keep this union together, as do the profits of empire. In the 19th and early 20th century, Scots, Irish, Welsh, as well as English, were getting a lot of profit in different ways from the empire, as well, of course, as paying for the empire.
And which of the ties that have bound us together do you think are now loosening or losing their resonance?
Clearly the empire has gone, the profits and lure of empire have gone. Many of the old identity stories, not just islandhood, but certainly Protestantism, are far less powerful than they once were. And the EU is a challenge in all sorts of ways, as has often been said. Once the UK joined the EU, however reluctantly, the Scots, the Welsh, the Northern Irish got an alternative centre of gravity from London. And that's been very important, I think, for the growing power of Scottish nationalists. The fear that the expectation, the hope that they've got somewhere else to go to. They're not dependent on London, or so the argument goes, in the way that they have been traditionally.
Tell us why you wrote this book.
The short and pithy answer is that I wrote the book because I was commissioned to do a radio series, and so the book evolved out of that. The more mainstream and genuine reason is that I know that these issues of identity, certainly issues over the Scottish referendum, over the possible EU referendum, will be inundated with comment from journalists, politicians, professional pundits. And I do genuinely believe that it would help to get more history into these discussions, because it's history, not so much geography, in fact, that helps to explain the current shape of the UK and some of the fractures that are currently emerging. So I thought, as a historian, I could add a different strand to what is going to be an increasingly frantic, but perhaps not always terribly well-informed debate.